person and you are one person. But God is not a human. And God is not limited in human ways.
قالت هي بتسأل السؤال ده لأنه التفكير في واحد بإشارة الحوادث
ما واحد
شخص
اثنين
واحد
الثاني
شخصين.
ليس كذلك. أنا قلت الوحدانية. أنا قلت الوحدانية يعني بمعنى ذات الله ليس مركبا من أجزاء ولا متعددة.
Unity again
وحدانية
is
واحد في صفاته واحد في أفعاله.
and هي الثانية متعدد
واحد في ذاته
غير متعدد
غير متعدد الصفات. متعدد الصفات ما في صفتان من نوع واحد.
ذاته ما مركبة.
الوحدانية
واحد في ذاته.
لا أنت قلت الوحدانية.
قلنا الوحدانية ليس ذات الله مركبة من أجزاء ولا متعددة.
ولا متعددة. Okay, and they aren't many gods. God as an entity is only one entity, and there aren't many entities.
Okay.
This is the
لا
definition
تصفة
of
الحوادث.
entity.
تركيب صفات الحوادث.
As you've said, being of parts is of a human description, and God is not a human, as we all agree, and this is the base point.
Let's, I'm sorry. Allow me to ask and see if you agree a little something with this description of God. And of course, no human can perfectly describe God, but let me use a few words that I think we all can agree on about God, okay? First of all, we could say that God, and we've already said this, that God never had a beginning, and he will never have an end. Okay, so he's present in all time and outside of time.
قالت هي بتقول الإله ما عنده بداية ولا عنده نهاية وموجود في كل الأوقات وخارج الأوقات.
أقول لها ده ما عنده دي عقيدة كلها. دي عقيدة يجب الإنسان أن يعتقدها مش عندها هي. يعني كل المسلمين.
This is a belief in Islam and your belief as well.
Okay, so
this is something we all agree on.
I agree.
No
okay.
beginning, no end, and it's
Right.
not limited to time.
Good. Let's go to a second one. He's not limited in power.
ما
There
عنده
is nothing
حدود.
God cannot do. He's totally unlimited in power.
ما عنده حدود لمقدراته أو قدرته. الإله.
أما كويس نحن لو جينا أتكلم نحن دايما نسأل عنه ليه نحن ما نرجع واحد. نحن ليه قلنا قبل يعني ليس ذات الله مركبة من أجزاء. ليس ذات الله مركبة من أجزاء ولا متعددة.
أيوه.
ليست مركبة من أجزاء متعددة لأنها دي صفة الحوادث. وبعدين هم بيقولوا الجيل يعني حاجة زي دي كده ما شغل غدر من الفراغ.
أيوه.
يعني مثلا المحلة دي فاضية كده. دي ما فيها حاجة هسه.
أيوه.
لما ناخد كده حاجة دي كده عملت تغطية في الحتة دي. بمعنى شغلت غدر من الفراغ. المحل ده كان فاضي وشغل. الله ليس بدي صفة الحوادث. الله ليس بيتصل بصفات.
He's also agreeing that Allah is not in the shape of body and is not in the shape of a mass or an entity that would take some space. Just like this bottle of water would take some space in the conception of space that we see now.
Exactly, because if God is limited or is in a space, you could say in that sense he's limited. But in the same sense that you could say that God is not in any space, you could also say that God is in every space because there's nowhere he cannot be.
قالت هي مؤمنة بأنه وجود الإله داخل مكان أو محتويه مكان هي بحدد من مقدراته ودي ما ممكن. أنا هيك بيل قالت مقدرة الإله ما متناهية وغير محدودة. لكن ده قالت هو نفس الكلام الممكن يكون إذا كان الإله في كل مكان.
لا لسه أولا حاجة لازم هي تثبت حاجة أنه تتفق معنا هذا الكون يوم من الايام ما كان موجود ولا الايام ذاتها موجوده.
Okay.
السماوات والارضين.
The existence of God in all spaces is not an Islamic belief, mainly because the space in a particular time before the creation of the space was not there.
واضح؟
Is it okay?
We would have to define a few more terms because actually the second point I was making was that God has all power.
Yes.
I think that we agree
We
on that.
agree.
The third point would be that God is not limited to a certain place
Yes.
called space as we know it. In other words, we could say that he is present everywhere. You can't go anywhere in the universe to hide from God. It's impossible.
Yes.
Not
Hiding.
that God is everything.
Yes, but what he's saying, before the beginning of time, there was God,
Yes, of course.
and there was no places.
Of course.
Places were not there.
Of course.
So if
As we
God was
understand.
inside places, then the existence of him before time would not be valid. So he has to be outside of the places as we know it and the spaces as we know it to exist before time and before his creation of places and spaces.
I don't know that I can quite agree to that because then you're saying there's a limit to God that he cannot be in a space.
اوكي. قال لك هل ده معناه في عجز للاله انه يكون داخل الاماكن كلها؟
لا، هو خالق للاماكن، ما نحن قد اتفقنا على انه الصانع مخالف لصناعته، يبقى الاماكن من صنعته.
هل في عجز هنا؟
الاماكن وصنعه توافق على دي حاجه نرجع عليها.
The places are creation of God, and we believe that creation is different from a creator. So it's different.
Well, yeah, so let me say it like this. God is not a space, or God is not a place, or God is not a thing. But we cannot say that God is not also there. Okay, so...
Existence is there. Existence
yes, in
is
other
different.
words, this table is not in any way, shape, or form God. It's not God. But God is present. Okay?
Yes.
God is present.
هي بس بتؤمن بوجود الخالق. هي بتؤمن بأنه الخالق ليس شيء، يعني ليس جرم، وليس مكان أو ليس مساحة.
لماذا؟ ليه بتعمل كده؟
Why would you believe of this? That
Why
God
would-
is not a thing, it's not a space or place, but
Because-
it still exists.
Okay, because this table is created. And it's also composed of created things. So therefore the table itself is not God. Okay? But God, if we limit God and say he's not there or isn't there, like in space, then we are also saying there's something outside of God. There's something outside of the existence of God. And therefore we could say that that thing outside of the existence of God is therefore something that God is not. And therefore it could be, if there's something that God is not, then how are we to say there isn't something else that could be greater than God? You see what I'm saying? We cannot say there's anything outside of the realm or the existence of God. Otherwise there's room for another God. But there's no room for another God.
قالت هي كما الترابيزة زي بتتكون من أشياء أو أجزاء، ودي حاجة مختلفة من الإله، وهي موجودة. لا بد يكون الإله موجود في كل شيء عشان الأشياء دي كلها تكون موجودة. إذا كان الإله ما موجود في هذه الأشياء معناه في حاجة ثانية، كأنه في حاجة ثانية ممكن تكون أعلى من الإله أوجد الأشياء. إذا كان لترجمة صحيحة.
These are very difficult things to translate, okay?
أنا سمعت
لا
I don't know it coming through translation at all?
انا فاهم كلامه.
أنا
انا
بس-
بقول لكن
أنا
هو
بشوف
قال لي
أنت
كده.
متابع.
هو ماشي في محل ثاني.
Okay, well, and I may
لا
not
انا
be
داير
understanding
ولا
you.
حاجه، داير ولا حاجه، داير ولا حاجه. يعني هم سبحانه في القران بيقول ليس كمثله شيء. لا ما اصل رجعت لكن هم قالوا لكن ما رجع.
We agree that he is different. What you've said, that God is different from his creation, from the table, from everything that there is. It's not the existence as you believe it. Is not being there. Being there is not a space. Being there is that he exists.
Okay, well, let me ask in a different way, maybe that might help me understand
Yes,
his point.
yes.
Okay, so you worship and pray to God.
Yes.
Okay,
لأنك تصلي
where is God?
لله.
Where is God?
الله وين؟ مكان الله وين؟
رب الخير المكان احنا نقول نصل لانه رب سبحانه وتعالى هو الصانع وخالق للصنع، مستحيل في حقه المكان.
وجوده كيف؟
وجوده كان الله في الوجود ولا لما ده نصل الكبير قلنا الكون ده حادث ولا هي مؤمنه على انه هو كان ما موجود ووجد.
لا هي مؤمنة إنه الكون ولا؟
الكون
مكان وزمان.
السماء لا السماوات والارضين
He would
مخلوقات
answer
يعني
it
مخلوقات.
in a different way. God is, he has no direction or place to tell you that God is there in this place, because place and direction is again a creation. He is asking this question: would you believe that the globe, the world as we know it, the earth, the skies, and the moon, the sun, and all of these that we see today, and what we call the globe or the world or the existence of the human, would you believe that it did not exist in a point of time when God was there?
Yeah, of course.
مؤمنة بأنه ما في ده الكون ده كله ما كان موجود.
ما كان
It was
موجود.
not there when God was there. There is not a place, by the way. When we say God is there,
لا ده كان موجود
Okay.
واحده ما كان موجود مؤمن.
ما كان موجود.
اس
You saying when you say when God was there, you're saying when God was in existence. You're not
Yes,
referring to.
yes.
I understand that.
Yes.
I understand that.
قالت الله كان موجود ولا شيء.
ولا شيء معه.
Yes.
والان على ما عليه كان.
And as he was in existence before everything as we see did not exist, he is still in that existence with the things that he's created.
Okay. So let me say like this. Everything that does exist, where did it come from?
جاء من وين كل المخلوقات دي؟
شنو ده؟
الأشياء.
ربنا وجدها من العدم.
It all existed from nothing.
Okay, from nothing, how did it come into existence?
ما محتاج لمواد. قال للشاب كن فكان.
God does not need tools and things to create his
Right.
creation. He just created because he wanted to be created.
All right. Which is I agree.
موافق.
I agree.
موافقة؟
أيوة.
اوكي.
I
موافقة على انه كان في الكون هو ما في موجود.
But
والان على ما عليه كان موافقة؟
Yes.
ليس دخول ولا خروج.
لا.
يقول ليس بدخول في العالم ولا خروج عنه.
let
لا
me,
يعلم الله الا الله.
I think maybe okay. Say
Okay.
what he said.
God. Only God knows God.
Absolutely.
So his existence in
نفس
the
الوجود
point
الأول
of
يعني.
time when there was nothing is still the same existence with all the things that are
Okay,
there.
that's correct. Let me say it like this. When he created the universe, when he created our galaxy, when he created everything that we know that exists, those things, even he created time, because time is also a creation.
وخلق كان he goes and
تكلم عن شنو
come back.